I made a video talking about what TRT changed for me, but the truth is that was only half the story, because TRT doesn't actually fix your life, it just gives you the capacity to fix it, and that small difference changes everything. In one of my earlier videos, I talked about what changes early on, things like sleep improving, body composition, drive, recovery, confidence, things like that. All of the typical things that most people talk about when they talk about testosterone replacement therapy. But after more time on it, something became really clear. Something I did not expect going in. You see, TRT doesn't make you disciplined. It just makes discipline easier to access. And that might sound like a small difference, but trust me, it's not. Because if you don't understand that going in, you might completely misunderstand what this actually does for your life. When most guys start TRT, especially after 40, there seems to be this quiet expectation that most of us won't say out loud. That things will just suddenly click. That motivation will just show up. That fat will start just magically melting off. That they'll suddenly feel like a completely different person. But what actually happens is a lot more subtle. You feel better, yes. You feel more stable, yes. You feel more capable, yes. But your habits, your routines, your discipline, those are all still yours. And this is where it starts to get kind of interesting, because once that initial wow phase fades, you start to realize something that's a little uncomfortable. At the end of the day, you're still you, just with more capacity. If you were inconsistent before TRT, you can still be inconsistent now. If you avoided hard things before, you can still avoid them now. You see, TRT doesn't overwrite your identity, it just kind of amplifies it. I notice this almost immediately in any kind of workouts or training I do. You see, before TRT, there were days where I just genuinely felt drained, like mentally drained, physically drained, emotionally drained, spiritually drained, just every sort of exhaustion imaginable. I just felt heavy in every way possible. Not just physically, like I said, but in every way possible. But once I started TRT, that resistance lowered. I could train harder, I could work harder, I could recover faster. I didn't feel wrecked all the time. But here's the important part. I still had to choose to go. I still have to choose to go train, to go work out, to do the things I need to do. You see, that part never changed. I think a lot of guys kind of secretly expect TRT to just magically create motivation in them. But motivation is weird. It kind of comes and goes. The difference now is when I actually choose to push myself and go put in the work, my body actually responds to it. And that's a huge difference. And not because it turns you into a superhero, but because it removes some of the friction that's just been holding you back for years. And to be honest, I think social media has kind of distorted this whole conversation. I mean, how many clips are out there of guys who seem to start TRT and then almost overnight, they're completely different people? Like they've just unlocked some secret masculine superpower. And look, for some guys, especially guys with legitimately low testosterone, those improvements can be pretty life-changing. I'm not minimizing that at all. But I think the real danger is when people start to think that testosterone somehow replaces personal responsibility. Because guess what? You can still eat terrible on TRT. You can still avoid the gym on TRT. You can still procrastinate. You can stay emotionally immature. TRT doesn't automatically, magically build character. It just gives you a better foundation to build from. And this is why I think a lot of guys get stuck. See, they expect TRT to be the transformation. So when life suddenly doesn't become effortless, they start to think something's wrong. Or they think it just stopped working altogether. But what's really happening is a whole lot simpler than that. It's just no longer carrying you. At the beginning, TRT feels like a big shift, but eventually it normalizes. And now you're left with something else entirely. And this is the part that nobody really likes to talk about. See, there is a point where TRT stops feeling like progress and starts feeling more like maintenance. Yeah, sleep is better, mood is better, recovery is better, but those dramatic changes slow down. And that's not failure, that's just the system stabilizing. And now the real question becomes, what are you going to do with the stability? And honestly, some of the biggest benefits aren't even really the flashy ones. It's not the muscle, it's not the body composition, it's the smaller things. Feeling more present, more patient, less foggy, feeling more resilient when life gets stressful. Even just waking up and not feeling exhausted before the day even starts. Those changes, they don't really make for viral social media clips. But in real life, those are the things that actually matter. Especially as a husband, as a father, as a man who's trying to build a better life after 40. Because here's the truth that hit me personally. TRT did not remove responsibility. It just removed excuses. It didn't replace discipline, it exposed it. And in some ways, that's a lot harder. Because now when you know that you can do more, but you still don't, you can't really blame hormones anymore. And I think this is the real shift that most men on TRT over 40 don't expect. You don't become a new man on TRT. You become the same man, just with more honesty, more awareness of what you're actually capable of, and more clarity about what you've been avoiding. That's the part that actually changes you over time. Not the testosterone, but the awareness that it creates. And I think that's why I wanted to make this follow-up video, because yeah, the first few months of TRT are really exciting. You notice changes really quickly, everything feels new, but eventually it just becomes your normal life. And at that point, the question stops being, is TRT working? And starts becoming, what am I gonna do with the opportunity that it's given me? That's the real shift. And that's the mature conversation around the stuff that I think more men need to hear. Not hype, not fear, just honesty. TRT can absolutely help, but it will not live your life for you. If you haven't seen the first video, I'm gonna link it here somewhere. That one was early in the experience. This one is what comes after. And I think both matter if you're actually serious about understanding what this is. As always, thanks for watching. Until next time, gentlemen, keep grinding. See you out there. Bye.